Hello and welcome to 5 in 5. Today I'm going to tell you 5 things about the documentary maker Nick Broomfield in just 5 minutes. So let's get started. Firstly, Nick Broomfield wasn't always a documentary maker. He originally studied law at university, and perhaps we can see this influence in certainly his early documentaries, which tend to be about sort of social injustice and the class structure. He made his first documentary by borrowing a camera, and he was given lots of offcuts of films which he sort of pieced together. So it's a very cheap documentary but very impactful. He made several other documentaries as a student, again along the same themes, dealing with the working classes and housing in particular. However, later in his career we can see he moves on to more celebrity-based documentaries and subject matters that are more unusual or about the sort of darker sides of life. He didn't always favour the performative mode, although that's what he's well known for now. He first appeared on screen in his documentary Driving Me Crazy because the documentary wasn't going quite to plan, and he appeared on screen having phone calls and discussions with people. Subjects within the film talk directly to Nick Broomfield, and so we hear him respond. People don't seem to like him very much in the documentary, and one subject even throws something at him. This seems to be a common theme across Broomfield's documentaries and something that he's used to his advantage. Broomfield argues that this form of documentary is perhaps more truthful. He says, "It's not the presence of the camera that changes people's behaviour, it's the relationship they have with the people behind it." So he argues that by appearing in front of the camera, he makes this relationship much more explicit. Nick Broomfield seems to have a very particular style. He often plays slightly chaotic, slightly unprepared and unplanned interviewer when he's on screen. Off screen, if you've seen any sort of promotional interviews with him, he is not like that at all. He's highly articulate, he's very intelligent, he answers questions fluently. So on screen, he's clearly playing a part. He is acting the Nick Broomfield persona, and this persona seems to work quite well. It gets his subjects to open up and perhaps say things that they wouldn't have done if he'd have taken a more formal approach. He doesn't just have a particular persona when it comes to asking questions though. He's well known for what he wears and how he looks, so we'll always be carrying his sound equipment, a boom mic perhaps, and wearing his headphones. He often wears jeans, a white t-shirt, a bomber jacket, and trainers. All of these things suggesting a sort of casual approach, someone who's dressed practically, but also, again, maybe creating this sort of trustworthy image so that people are a bit more relaxed around him. His sound equipment, though, gives him a sense of authority. It shows that he's not just a presenter or a researcher for the documentary, but he is actually in control and has ownership of the documentary making process. Other things that are typical of the Nick Broomfield documentary are his well-known voiceover. It's obviously a sort of middle-class British accent. It's got a slow drawl to it, and sometimes he sounds sort of slightly disinterested, particularly when he's interviewing people. His voiceover often tells us something about the documentary process, how it's going, where he's going to next, and that combines with lots of footage of him in his car travelling to different places. Nick Broomfield's documentary approach has inspired many other filmmakers, including people like Michael Moore, Louis Theroux and Morgan Spurlock. Within his own body of work, perhaps the best examples of where the performative mode has really worked are the 2 documentaries he made about Eileen Wuornos. The relationship that he developed with Eileen means that in the second documentary, just before her execution, she really opens up about the crimes that she's committed, but also goes on many rants about how she's been treated, perhaps suggesting that she wasn't of sound mind and therefore really shouldn't have been executed. This work allows us to see potential problems within the American justice system. Broomfield moves away slightly from his sort of buffoonish interviewer persona, and we actually see slightly less of him than we do in other documentaries. So this is really significant work within his filmography. So there we have it, 5 different points within 5 minutes, all about Nick Broomfield. I hope you found them useful and can use some of these ideas when you're thinking about filmmakers' approaches to documentary making. Bye for now.